Lee Jin-ho stood at the window of his office in the United Nations building, watching the sunset paint the New York sky in shades of orange and purple. His hands were folded behind his back, but his grip was tight enough to whiten his knuckles. The message from the Galactic Council had arrived 3 hours ago, and its words still rang in his ears. The holographic projector on his desk flickered to life again. High Counselor Dax's scaled face appeared, floating in the air. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern as it repeated the message for the 3rd time today. People of Earth, the creature spoke in its artificially translated voice. You have been given sufficient time to consider your place in the galactic community. The Council has decided that unaligned worlds are a threat to galactic stability. You have 2 standard cycles to submit to Council authority, or face complete isolation from all spacefaring races. Jin-ho turned away from the window. At 53, he had spent the last 15 years as Earth's primary representative in interstellar affairs. He had watched humanity take its first steps into the galactic community, had helped negotiate their first trade deals, and had always maintained his calm diplomat's smile. But today, that smile was nowhere to be seen. His computer chimed with an incoming call from Earth's Defense Command. The tired face of Kim Han-gil, the defense commander, appeared on his screen. Have you seen the numbers? Han-gil asked without greeting. His usually neat uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles showed under his eyes. Yes, Jin-ho replied, sitting down at his desk. 78% of Earth's off-world trade would be cut off. Our colonies on Mars and Europa would struggle to survive without Council-approved supply lines. And our defense capabilities. Jin-ho pulled up the relevant files on his tablet. Against a full Council embargo, we might last 6 months, maybe a year. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. He paused, then added, At least, that's what they want us to believe. Han-gil leaned forward. What do you mean? Something isn't right, Jin-ho said, pulling up more files. In 15 years of contact, the Council has never acted this aggressive. They've always been bureaucratic, slow, cautious. This ultimatum, it feels like fear. Fear of us? Han-gil almost laughed. We barely have a dozen ships that can reach the nearest star system. Jin-ho was about to respond when his desk computer began beeping urgently. New messages were flooding in from every Earth embassy in Council space. His tablet lit up with emergency alerts, and the holographic projector activated automatically. High Counselor Dax's image appeared again, but this time, all 4 of its eyes were wide with what looked like panic. Earth representative, it spoke quickly. Our sensors detect unusual energy readings from your planet's oceans. Explain immediately. Jin-ho looked at his own readings. Nothing showed on Earth's official systems. I'm afraid I don't know what you're referring to, High Counselor, he replied carefully. Do not attempt deception. Dax's voice rose. Your species was supposed to be contained. The readings match. They match. The alien seemed unable to finish its sentence. Suddenly, Han-gil's screen split to show multiple emergency signals. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, something was changing. Sensors that had been quiet for decades were lighting up. Temperature readings were shifting in impossible patterns. Jin-ho, Han-gil whispered, What's happening? Before Jin-ho could answer, his office lights flickered. Every screen in the room went dark for 3 seconds. When they came back on, a new message scrolled across them all. The text was in perfect Korean, then English, then every human language. Activation criteria, net. Defense protocol INITIATET. The cuff-leated AWAKNs. Jin-ho and Han-gil stared at their screens in silence. In the hologram, High Counselor Dax was shouting orders to someone off-screen, real fear now visible in all 4 eyes. The sunset outside Jin-ho's window seemed darker now, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Humanity's hidden legacy was about to reveal itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days before the Council's ultimatum, Dr. Kim Soo-jin was having what seemed like a normal day at sea. The research vessel Ocean Explorer floated above the Mariana Trench, its advanced sensors probing the dark waters below. Soo-jin stared at her computer screen, frowning at the strange readings it showed. "That can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her equipment again. The deep-sea sensors were picking up energy patterns unlike anything she'd seen before. They seemed to come from a point even deeper than the trench's known bottom. "Dr. Kim," called out Park Ta-won, the military engineer assigned to their expedition. He rushed into the lab, holding his own tablet. "Are you seeing this?" Soo-jin nodded, pushing her long black hair behind her ears. "Something's down there, Ta-won. Something big." She pulled up a 3D map of the readings. "But these energy signatures, they're not natural. They're not even like the deep-sea vents we usually study." Ta-won leaned over her shoulder, his eyes widening. "It looks almost like a power source. But that's impossible. Nothing man-made could survive at that depth." Soo-jin was about to agree when her computer beeped. The energy readings had changed. They were getting stronger. "We need to send down the deep-sea drone," she decided, already heading for the ship's robot control room. Ta-won followed quickly behind her. The drone, a sleek machine designed for extreme depths, descended into the darkness. Its powerful lights cut through the black water. At first, they saw only the usual features of the deep ocean floor. Then, at a depth that shouldn't have existed, their lights hit something smooth and metallic. "Stop the drone," Soo-jin ordered. The machine held position, its cameras focusing on what lay before them. A massive wall stretched into the darkness, made of a metal that still shone despite its age. No rust or sea life marked its surface. As they watched, lines of soft blue light began to pulse across it. "This isn't recent construction," Ta-won said, his voice filled with awe. "Look at the design patterns. They're human patterns, but older than anything we've ever found." Soo-jin's hands flew across the control panel, making the drone take samples and readings. "The metal composition is unlike anything in our database, and these energy readings." She paused, staring at the numbers. "They're getting stronger by the minute." Suddenly, their drone's video feed caught movement. A section of the wall was changing. What had looked like solid metal began to shift and flow like liquid. "We need to contact the surface fleet," Ta-won said urgently. "The military needs tow." Before he could finish, every screen in the control room went dark. When they came back on, they showed a message in clear Korean. "Greetings, Shihe Aldurian of Earth. I am Gyordian. The time of awakening a Puroises." Soo-jin and Ta-won exchanged looks of shock. The message continued. "Your discovery is not by chance. The enemy moves against Earth once more. The fleet must rise again." "What fleet?" Ta-won asked, but Soo-jin was already pulling up historical records on her tablet. "Look at this," she said, showing him ancient cave paintings and pottery designs. "These patterns we thought were just art. They matched the designs on that wall perfectly. Our ancestors left us a message, hidden in plain sight for thousands of years." The ship's captain's voice came over the intercom. "All personnel to emergency stations. We're picking up unusual seismic activity." Through the drone's camera, they watched as more sections of the wall began to move. The blue lights grew brighter, and the ocean itself seemed to vibrate with power. "We're watching history change," Soo-jin whispered, her eyes fixed on the screen. "Everything we thought we knew about human history," Ta-won finished her thought, "was just the beginning." Deep below them, humanity's ancient legacy was stirring to life, ready to reveal secrets that would shake the foundations of Earth and beyond. Kim Han-gil stood in Earth's Defense Command Center, watching as red warning lights flashed across every screen. The Galactic Council had made their move, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of waiting for their ultimatum's deadline, they had launched a surprise attack. "Status report," he shouted, his voice cutting through the noise of the busy command center. "Sir, they're targeting our orbital stations," a young officer called out. "3 Council warships just appeared behind the moon. They're using some kind of stealth technology we've never seen before." Hangil's fists tightened. Earth's orbital stations were home to thousands of people. Scientists, engineers, and regular workers who had helped build humanity's first steps into space. "Get me a connection to the Council ships," he ordered. But before anyone could act, the first shots were fired. Beams of bright green energy lanced out from the Council ships. They hit the smallest of Earth's orbital stations. The station didn't explode. Instead, it simply shut down. All its lights went dark. "Station 4 is dead, sir. All systems are offline. Life support is." The officer paused, checking readings. "Life support is still working, but nothing else. They're stranded up there." Hangil reached for the emergency communication panel. They needed to evacuate the other stations before. His screen suddenly changed. Instead of the emergency controls, he saw a simple message. "Coordinates RECIVT. Defense Patioran Rectiogenized. Initiating CONTERMEAs UARDs." The message was followed by a set of numbers, coordinates pointing to locations all across Earth's oceans. "Sir," another officer called out, "we're getting strange energy readings from the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean too. Something's happening down there." Hangil's personal tablet lit up with a new message. This one was different, more detailed. "I am Guardian. I have AKCD and WAITDFORTS day. The enemy uses the same tactics they used before. They have learned nothing in all the years." As Hangil read, more text appeared. "Your ancestors at see this threat. They left you the tools to face it again. The fleet AWAKNs. It requires commanders. It requires you." "Sir," a voice called out softly. Hangil looked up to see his whole command staff staring at the main screen. On it, they could see the Council ships preparing to fire at another station. But something else was happening. The ocean below them was starting to glow. Massive shapes were rising from the depths, surrounded by swirling water and bright blue energy. Hangil's tablet showed one final message. "The choice is yours. Command the fleet or go teach your world the fall. Your ancestors made their choice. Now you must make yours." Hangil stood straight. He looked at the faces of his officers, all showing fear, but also determination. "Get me Dr. Kim Soo-jin and Engineer Park Ta-won from the Ocean Explorer," he ordered, "and find out where Lee Jin-ho is. We're going to need everyone for what comes next." As he spoke, the first of the ancient ships broke the ocean's surface. It was massive, sleek, and beautiful. Its hull was covered in patterns that glowed with blue light. More ships were rising every minute, each one more impressive than the last. The Council ships noticed too. They stopped their attack on the stations. Their weapons turned toward the rising fleet instead. Hangil watched as the ancient ships took position between Earth and the attackers. The fleet moved with perfect grace, as if it had been waiting for this moment for thousands of years. In a way, he realized, it had been. "Send a message to all Earth's military commands," he said firmly. Tell them humanity just got an upgrade." Above them, the Council ships fired their first shots at the ancient fleet. The battle for Earth's future was about to begin. Dr. Kim Soo-jin could hardly believe what she was seeing. The massive underwater doors she and Park Ta-won had discovered were now fully open. From them came a steady stream of ships, each one more amazing than the last. The ocean explorer rocked gently in the waves as the ancient vessels rose around it. "This is impossible," Ta-1 said, standing next to her on the deck. "These ships, they're human designs, but they're far beyond anything we've ever built." Su-Jin checked the readings on her tablet. "The metal they're made of isn't even on our periodic table. And look at how they move through the water. It's like they're not even touching it." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a military helicopter. It landed on the ship's small helipad, and out stepped Commander Kim Han-gil. He walked quickly toward them, his face serious. "Doctor, engineer," he nodded to them. "I trust you've met Guardian." As if waiting for its name, every screen on the ship lit up with the AI's response. "Greetings again, Shildyn of Earth. The fleet is NEARLY ready." Han-gil pointed to the largest of the rising ships. It was beautiful, with sweeping lines that seemed to flow like water. Blue lights pulsed along its hull in patterns that reminded Su-Jin of the cave paintings she'd studied. "That's our new command ship," Han-gil explained. "Guardian says it's called the Memory of Dawn. We need to board it now." "Board it?" Ta-1 asked, his eyes wide. "But we don't know how to operate alien technology." The screens flickered again. "Not alien. Human. Your ancestors built these ships. Their blood runs in your veins. The ships will gain you." Su-Jin felt a strange tingling in her hands. She looked down to see her tablet showing new information. Detailed diagrams of the ships, but in a way she could somehow understand perfectly. "It's interfacing with our technology," she said with wonder. "No, it's interfacing with us. The ships aren't just machines. They're meant to work with human minds." A small transport vessel descended from the Memory of Dawn, hovering next to their ship. Its door opened smoothly, revealing a brightly lit interior. "The Council ships have already attacked our orbital stations," Han-gil said as they walked toward the transport. "We don't have much time to learn how to use these ships." Inside the transport, they found seats that seemed to mold themselves to fit their bodies perfectly. The walls were covered in displays showing information in both ancient symbols and modern Korean. As they lifted off, Su-Jin watched the ocean explorer grow smaller below them. Around them, more ancient ships were still rising from the ocean. Some were small and fast-looking, while others were huge vessels that could probably carry thousands of people. They docked with the Memory of Dawn, and the doors opened into a command center that took their breath away. It was both alien and familiar. Everything was designed for human use, but at a level of technology centuries beyond their own. "Welcome to the bridge." Guardian's voice came from all around them now, sounding more natural than before. "This ship has waited 12,000 years for this moment." 12,000 years. Ta-1 whispered. "Our civilization is only about 6,000 years old." "The civilization you remember," Guardian corrected. "Now, please take your positions. The enemy approaches, and we must show them that humanity's children have grown up." Su-Jin sat at what seemed to be a science station, while Ta-1 found himself drawn to engineering controls. Han-gil walked to the captain's position at the center of the bridge. As they settled into their seats, the ship came fully alive around them. Knowledge seemed to flow directly into their minds, not forced, but natural, like remembering something long forgotten. Above them, the Council ships were closing in. But now, for the first time, Earth was ready to show its true power. Lieutenant Yoon Jae-yun had been a fighter pilot for 5 years, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. She sat in the cockpit of an ancient fighter craft that had just emerged from the ocean. The controls didn't have any buttons or switches, just smooth surfaces that responded to her thoughts. "How are you doing, Lieutenant?" Commander Han-gil's voice came through clearly, even though she couldn't see any communication devices. "It's amazing, sir," she replied, running her hand over the glowing panels. "It's like the ship is part of me. I think something, and it responds." She wasn't alone. Across the Pacific Ocean, more pilots were connecting with the ancient fighters. The larger ships, including the Memory of Dawn, floated in a protective formation around Earth's disabled orbital stations. From her fighter's cockpit, Jia-Yun could see 3 Council warships ahead. They had stopped firing but maintained attack positions. Their green energy weapons were still pointed at Earth. All pilots, Han-Gil's voice came again. Guardian has uploaded basic combat protocols to your neural links. Remember, these ships are part of your heritage. Trust your instincts. Jia-Yun felt the warm sensation in her mind as new information flowed in. Suddenly, she understood things about space combat that no human had known for thousands of years. The ship's movements became as natural as walking. "Sir," Dr. Kim Soo-jin's voice joined the channel from the Memory of Dawn. "The Council ships are charging weapons again. They're targeting our fighters." The enemy ships fired, sending bright green beams toward Earth's newly awakened fleet. Jia-Yun didn't even need to think. Her fighter moved on its own, spinning away from the attack with impossible grace. Around her, other ancient fighters did the same. "Now," Commander Han-Gil ordered, "show them what Earth can do." Jia-Yun's fighter responded to her thoughts instantly. Blue energy gathered at its wings, forming shapes she somehow knew were both shields and weapons. Other fighters formed up around her, moving in patterns that felt as natural as breathing. The Council ships fired again, but this time the ancient fighters were ready. Their blue shields caught the green energy beams and sent them harmlessly into space. Then, as one, the Earth fleet struck back. Target Admiral Kang Min-soo stood on the bridge of the Memory of Dawn, watching as Earth's ancient fleet approached the Galactic Council's main defense station. The massive ring-shaped structure floated in space near Mars, its green energy shields glowing brightly against the black of space. "They've spotted us," Dr. Kim Soo-jin said from her station. "Their defense grid is powering up. Over 300 weapon platforms are targeting our ships." Min-soo nodded calmly. After 2 weeks of training with the ancient fleet, he felt ready for this moment. The neural link with his ship sent waves of confidence through his mind. "Open a channel to the Council station," he ordered. The main screen lit up, showing High Counselor Dax's shocked face. "Impossible," the alien leader said, all 4 eyes widening. "Those ships were destroyed. We made sure of it." "You tried," Min-soo replied simply. "But my ancestors were smarter than you thought. Now, power down your weapons, or we'll do it for you." Dax slammed a clawed hand on its control panel. "Never. The human fleet must not rise again. All stations, open fire." Green energy beams shot out from hundreds of weapons, filling space with deadly light. But Min-soo just smiled. "All ships, execute pattern Sundance," he commanded through the neural link. The ancient fleet moved as one. Large ships and small fighters flowed between the enemy beams like water. Not a single shot hit its target. The movements were beautiful, almost like a dance in space. "Their weapons are using old Council technology," Guardian's voice informed them. "Your ancestors designed these ships to counter it perfectly." Min-soo nodded to Lieutenant Yoon Jae-yun, who now led the fighter squadrons. "Lieutenant, disable their outer defense ring. Engineer Park, prepare the null field." Jae-yun's fighters moved in perfect formation. Blue energy beams shot out with incredible accuracy, hitting only the weapon platforms and leaving the station's life support systems untouched. One by one, the Council's weapons went dark. From his engineering station, Park Ta-won activated the null field, a special technology that Guardian had taught them about. A wave of soft blue light spread out from the Memory of Dawn, touching each Council defense platform it passed. What are you doing?" Dax demanded, fear now clear in its voice. "Showing mercy," Min-soo answered. "The null field disables weapons but protects life support. We could destroy your station, but that's not our way." On the main screen, they could see panic spreading through the Council station. Other alien leaders were appearing behind Dax, their faces showing a mix of fear and amazement. "How?" one of them asked. How do humans master such technology? Dr. Kim Soo-jin stepped forward. We didn't master it. We remembered it. These ships, this technology, they're our heritage. The real question is, why did you fear this knowledge so much that you tried to keep us from it? The council leaders looked at each other nervously. Finally, Dax spoke. Because last time humans had this power, they changed everything. The old empires fell. The balance of power shifted, and now it will shift again, Min-soo said firmly. But this time, we'll do it without a war. Power down your remaining weapons, and let's talk about humanity's real place in the galaxy. Through the neural link, Min-soo could feel the ancient ships humming with approval. These vessels hadn't been built for conquest. They were meant to protect and preserve life. As the Council Station's weapons powered down, Min-soo opened a channel to Earth. Commander Han-gil, the path is clear. You can bring the diplomatic team through. The memory of Dawn's sensors picked up a new ship emerging from hyperspace, a smaller vessel carrying Lee Jin-ho and Earth's diplomatic corps. The time for fighting was over. Now came the harder part, building a new future for humanity among the stars. The main hall of the Memory of Dawn was filled with people eager to hear the truth. Commander Kim Han-gil, Admiral Kang Min-soo, Dr. Kim Soo-jin, Park Ta-won, and Lieutenant Yoon Jae-yun sat in the front row. Lee Jin-ho stood nearby, preparing to record this historic moment. The room's walls transformed into a giant display as Guardian began its story. The AI's voice was gentle but clear. 12,000 years ago, Guardian began. Earth was the center of human space civilization. Your ancestors had built an empire that stretched across 1,000 stars. The walls showed images of ancient human cities on different planets. They saw massive space stations and beautiful ships similar to the ones they now commanded. But humans were different then, Guardian continued. They had grown proud, perhaps too proud. Some wanted to rule over other species. Others wanted to share knowledge and live in peace. This split grew deeper over time. Soo-jin raised her hand. What happened then? The images changed to show a great battle. The war lasted 10 years, Guardian explained. Those who wanted peace fought against those who wanted power. In the end, the peaceful ones won, but at a great cost. But why don't we remember any of this? Ta-won asked, looking at the ancient battles with wide eyes. Because your ancestors made a choice, Guardian replied. They saw how power had corrupted their civilization. They decided to start over, to give humanity a second chance to grow up differently. The walls now showed images of Earth's ancient past, the building of the first pyramids, the rise of early cities. They hid their technology in secret bases under the oceans, Guardian said. They chose to live simple lives again, to rebuild their civilization from scratch. They left me to watch over their legacy, to wake the fleet only if humanity truly needed it. Han-gil leaned forward. And the Galactic Council, what's their part in this? They were once a small group of species that humans had helped, Guardian explained. After humans went into their great sleep, the Council grew powerful, but they always feared that humanity would wake up and reclaim its place among the stars. That's why they gave us the ultimatum, Jin-ho realized. They weren't trying to control us. They were trying to stop us from discovering our past. Lieutenant Jae-yun touched the wall, looking at the ancient ships. These vessels, they feel so natural to us because they were made for human minds. Yes, Guardian confirmed. Your ancestors built them to work in harmony with human thoughts and feelings. They are tools of protection, not destruction. The images changed again, showing Earth as it looked now. Your civilization has grown differently this time, Guardian said. You learned to value peace before you gained great power. You showed mercy to the Council even when you could have destroyed them. What happens now? Admiral Min-soo asked quietly. That is your choice, Guardian replied. The fleet is yours now. You can use it to rebuild humanity's place in the galaxy. But remember the lessons of your ancestors. power must serve wisdom, not the other way around. Su-jin stood up, looking at the star maps that filled the walls. All these worlds, they were once human colonies. Yes, Guardian said. Many are still waiting to be rediscovered. But this time, you can approach them with the wisdom your ancestors gained. You can build something better than an empire. The room fell quiet as everyone thought about what they had learned. They were no longer just Earth's defenders. They were the guardians of humanity's second chance. We'll do better this time, Hangil said firmly. We'll use this power to protect and help others, not to rule them. Guardian's response held a note of pride. That is exactly what your ancestors hoped to hear. Lee Jin-ho walked into the great chamber of the Galactic Council for the second time in his life. But this time was very different. Instead of standing alone before the council's raised platforms, he had Lieutenant Yoon Jae-yun and Admiral Kang Min-soo at his sides. Through the chamber's huge windows, they could see Earth's ancient fleet floating in space. "Welcome, Earth Ambassador," High Counselor Dax said, its voice much softer than before. "Please, take your seat at the main table." Jin-ho noticed something new. A large chair had been added to the council's main circle, equal in size to all the others. It was decorated with human patterns that matched those on their ships. "That seat has been empty for 12,000 years, another council member said. "It belongs to Earth." As Jin-ho sat down, he saw many aliens watching him with curious eyes. News of Earth's ancient fleet and its merciful victory had spread across the galaxy. Many species were questioning everything they thought they knew about humans. "We have reviewed the data from your guardian eye," Dax announced. "It seems we owe humanity an apology. We let our fear of the past blind us to who you have become." Lieutenant Jae-yun stepped forward. "The past doesn't have to define our future. In the weeks since the fleet awakened, we've already started teaching other species how to work with our ships." This was true. Jae-yun had personally trained pilots from 15 different species. The ancient ships, while built for humans, could adapt to work with any mind that came in peace. "That's why we're here today," Jin-ho said, standing to address the council. "Earth proposes a new alliance. Not one based on fear or power, but on sharing knowledge and helping each other grow." Admiral Min-soo activated a hologram in the center of the chamber. It showed the Gnome Galaxy, with Earth's old colony worlds marked in blue. "These worlds were once part of human space," Min-soo explained. "We don't want them back as colonies. Instead, we want to open them as learning centers, where all species can study the ancient technology together." The council chamber filled with excited whispers. This was not what anyone had expected from the newly powerful Earth. "You would share such knowledge freely?" one council member asked in surprise. "Knowledge only has real value when it's shared," Jin-ho replied. "That's a lesson our ancestors learned the hard way. We don't want to repeat their mistakes." Dax stood up, its 4 eyes showing clear emotion. "Earth is offering us more than we deserve after how we treated you. The past is past," Jin-ho said firmly. "Now we must all look to the future." As they talked, more changes were happening across the galaxy. On Earth, Dr. Kim Soo-jin and Park Ta-won were leading teams to study the ancient technology. They made sure to share every discovery with scientists from other worlds. The Memory of Dawn had become a training center, where Lieutenant Jae-yun taught pilots from many species how to fly the ancient ships. The neural link technology was helping different species understand each other in ways they never had before. "There is one condition," Jin-ho told the council. "The knowledge we share must never be used for war. The ships, the technology, they're all meant to protect and unite, not divide." One by one, the council members stood. They had voted on many things over thousands of years, but never anything like this. "Earth's condition is accepted," Dax announced. "Let this day mark the beginning of a new age in galactic history." As the council members cheered, Jin-ho looked out at the ancient fleet. Its blue lights pulsed peacefully in the darkness of space. Humanity had been given a second chance, and this time, they were determined to get it right. 1 year after Earth's ancient fleet awakened, Dr. Kim Soo-jin stood at a window on the Memory of Dawn, watching ships come and go. The massive space station that now orbited Earth had become the galaxy's biggest learning center. "Amazing view, isn't it?" Park Ta-won said as he joined her. He held up his tablet, showing her the latest test results. "The alien students are learning faster than we expected. Some of them are even helping us understand the technology better." Soo-jin smiled. Below them, she could see ships of all sizes and designs moving through space. Many had the same blue lights as Earth's ancient fleet, showing they had been built using the shared technology. "Guardian," she called out, "how many species are studying here now?" The AI's voice came through warmly. "We have students from 57 different worlds. Today, 3 more species are joining us." In the station's main hangar, Lieutenant Yoon Jae-yun was finishing a training session with a group of new pilots. The neural link technology had been adapted to work with many different kinds of minds, letting everyone experience the joy of flying the advanced ships. "Remember," Jae-yun told her students, "these ships respond to peace and protection. The more you want to help others, the better they work." Admiral Kang Min-soo entered the hangar, looking pleased. "Good work, Lieutenant. The Council just approved our proposal for 5 more learning centers." The news brought smiles to everyone's faces. The first learning center had been so successful that many worlds were asking for their own. Each one would teach not just about the technology, but about working together in peace. Meanwhile, on Earth, Lee Jin-ho was meeting with Commander Kim Han-gil in the new Global Space Command Center. "The exploration teams found 2 more of the old colony worlds," Han-gil reported. "But this time, we're doing things differently." Jin-ho nodded. Instead of claiming the worlds, Earth was helping new species settle on them. The ancient technology made it easy to build homes and cities that worked with each planet's environment. "And the Guardian Project?" Jin-ho asked. "Going well," Han-gil replied. "The new AIs are learning from the original Guardian. Soon, each learning center will have its own guide to help teach students." The original Guardian joined their conversation. "The future you are building is better than what your ancestors imagined. You have learned to use power wisely." Outside the command center, Earth had changed too. The ancient technology helped clean the planet's air and water. New cities rose that worked in harmony with nature. People from other worlds often visited, bringing their own knowledge to share. Back on the Memory of Dawn, Soo-jin and Taiwan were checking the latest reports. The station's great library was filling up with new discoveries as people from different worlds worked together to understand the ancient technology. "Look at this," Soo-jin said, pointing to her screen. "The Arcanian scientists found a way to improve the neural links using their crystal technology, and the Mirians discovered how to make the ship's hulls even stronger." "That's what Guardian meant about sharing knowledge," Taiwan replied. "We all learn more when we work together." As they talked, a new ship appeared through the station's jump gate. It was beautiful, a mix of Earth's ancient designs and new ideas from other worlds. Its hull glowed with the familiar blue light, but patterns from many cultures decorated its surface. "That's the first ship built by the United Species Program," Guardian explained proudly, "a symbol of what you have achieved." The ship's name was written in several languages on its side. In English, it read, "Star Bridge." It was a perfect name for a vessel meant to connect different worlds and peoples. Earth's ancient fleet still protected the peace, but now it was no longer alone. A new fleet was growing, one built by many species working together, using the best of their shared knowledge to ensure a better future for all.